Welcome to our special coverage on China's political season. Coming to you from Beijing, I'm Jia Yang. China is gearing up for the launch of its two biggest annual political gatherings, the two sessions. The National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, or CPPCC, which is China's top political advisory body, will hold a press conference later today at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. And this comes ahead of the opening of its annual session. Joining me in our studio are Victor Gao, Chair Professor at Soochow University, Einar Tangen, Independent Political and Economics Affairs Commentator. So we'll chat to these two gentlemen a little bit later. And as we wait for the CPPCC press conference to start, let's hear from our reporter Sun Tianyuan on what we can expect.
The CPPCC press conference is about to begin, and the room is packed with reporters from home and abroad in anticipation of this year's two sessions and the signals China will sending out. The spokesperson will brief the media on the main agenda this year and answer questions on key issues including China's social development and economic development over the past year. And we may also expect questions on China's COVID policies and the country's recovery from the nationwide outbreak in December. Green development could also be a buzz topic this year, as the CPPCC has set up a new sector over environment and natural resources for the first time in 30 years. This indicates China's increasing focus on environmental protection and sustainable development. From the list released earlier, we can tell the political advisors in this sector has a strong background in the environment, natural resources management. Some are officials from the ministries, and others are scholars and heads of state-owned enterprises. That's exactly how China's top political advisory body works. One of the CPPCC main functions is making proposals to assist China's state affairs, and that requires expertise in certain fields as well as comprehensive studies and surveys. Over the past 5 years, the 13th CPPCC National Committee received over 29,000 proposals, and these proposals came from various areas and had the same goal, which is to foster development for China and further improve the well-being of its 1.4 billion people. As we speak now, over 2,000 members of the 14th CPPCC National Committee are gathering in Beijing for their annual session. We're looking forward to their input at this year's session.
The CPPCC is the most powerful political advisory body in China. Let's take a look at what it is and what it does. Now, the main functions of the CPPCC are political consultation, democratic supervision, and the deliberation and administration of state affairs. So to be more specific, the CPPCC discusses major principles and policies that are proposed by the central and local governments. It gives proposals on matters concerning political, economic, cultural and social affairs, and it supervises the implementation of the constitution and the country's rules and regulations. It also conducts investigations and studies into social conditions and popular sentiments. The work the CPPCC does is central to the development of a system that China describes as whole process democracy. Our reporter Hu Chao has more on how conference members are selected.
Dr. Chen Chen has been a neurologist for nearly 2 decades in Taiyuan, the capital of China's northern Shanxi province. He's been posting videos sharing his medical and health knowledge on social media since 2020, gaining millions of followers. In January, he was selected as a new member of the 13th Shanxi Provincial Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, or CPPCC, and started attending meetings.
During the sessions, we shared our opinions on work reports by the provincial government and CPPCC. We also raised proposals which were discussed in the meetings. Then we took part in voting to elect new leaders of the Shanxi CPPCC.
In his proposal, Dr. Chen calls for more doctors to use social media to help increase the public's awareness of medical and health issues. He's among more than 500 new members from a range of backgrounds that have been selected for the Shanxi branch of the Consultative Conference this year. Dr. Chen was recommended for membership of the People's Political Consultative Conference by the Shanxi Provincial Youth Federation, of which he's been a member for 10 years. The community organization says it was due to his remarkable expertise and achievements in the medical profession, as well as his innovative approach to using social media for public benefit.
The process of becoming a CPPCC member is different from becoming an NPC member. While NPC deputies are elected, CPPCC members are chosen through consultation and recommendation.
So how exactly are members of the Consultative Conference chosen? Professor Wei Huling, a two-time member of the Shanxi branch, explains.
Different parties, groups, and sectors consult and recommend candidates to the Organization Department and the United Front Work Department of the Provincial Party Committee. The two offices will then consult with related sides and make a balance to confirm a list of names to submit to the Shanxi CPPCC Standing Committee for consultation and a vote. The final names will be announced to the public.
Professor Wei says the members' diverse backgrounds reflect democracy in action.
Only those who are representative of and recognized by their party, group, or social sector can be recommended, and they come from all walks of life. It's a requirement of the CPPCC because different voices are needed to consult and make decisions for the people. This is a prominent feature of China's democracy.
Professor Wei says the process by which proposals are made within the Consultative Conference, together with the government's response and decision-making, reflect what's known in China as whole process democracy.
The whole process democracy is reflected in the annual two sessions, when the CPPCC members raise a lot of proposals. During my 2 terms of a provincial CPPCC member, I raised over 50 proposals about education, economy, and environment protection. All received active responses from the government and had good outcomes.
CGTN, Shanxi Province.
Let's get some insights from our guests who are joining us in the studio, Victor Gao and Einar Tangen. Guys, thank you so much for coming in. Great to have you here with us. So you're both veterans of the 2 sessions, but for our viewers who may not be too familiar with China's system, Victor, if you could just give us some historical context of how the CPPCC came about and some of its core functions.
Well, many people in the West sometimes mistake CPPCC as a chamber in the parliament. As a matter of fact, it is not. It is not part of the parliamentary or congressional setup. It is very unique to China. As a matter of fact, in the history of the People's Republic of China, the CPPCC actually predated the NPC. It actually played a very important role in the finalization of the preparation for the establishment and the founding of the People's Republic of China. In that sense, CPPCC did play a very important role in the founding of the PRC and in unfolding a whole range of processes which lead the Chinese transformation up to today. Now, they play a very much of a consultative purposes. They help the government and the state as a whole to come up with very unique perspectives from different angles. And the members of the CPPCC are each will be a very outstanding member of the society. They have their own jobs, they have their own way of doing things, and they have a unique perspective on many things, and coming up with their very unique proposals and recommendations. The whole nation will be better served because in China, there is a lot of dynamics going on. Things are constantly in the flux, and you need to have a multitude of different perspectives, recommendations from different angles to come up with a better solution to solve very interesting and challenging issues. This is a unique role that CPPCC plays, and it complements to what NPC, which is the parliament, does in legislative work, and the CPPC and NPC form integral parts of what we call the whole process democracy for China as a whole.
Well, Victor, you were saying that people mistake it for one of two chambers, but it's not. So, Einar, would you say that can we draw any parallels with other political systems in terms of how the CPPCC works, and what do you think some of its key inputs are to the political dynamics?
Well, I really don't know anything that would equate. You might just say the House of Lords without the nobility and no ability to actually comment on the legislation going through. But you know what Victor said about how China gets information. I mean, the purpose of a government is to set up a safe society and do all these things. But there are all sorts of challenges that come up. Victor was talking about them, and how do you know? I mean, it can be very easy to become insulated when you're in Beijing and there's 1.4 billion people in a country that's slightly larger than the United States. How do you get out to them? So this is, these people they're not gunning for promotion. You know, the guy we talked about there was a neurologist, right? He's not going to go ahead because he's there. He's there because he wants to bring forward his voice, his expertise. And that's what you see in the CPCC. They have everybody. They have actresses, they have business people, they have garbage men, they have neurologists, housewives, taxi drivers. So this is really the voice of the people. It allows those in Beijing to hear the common place ideas, comments, things that need to be improved. I always say that they advise, all right, and they check, and they give a sense of legitimacy to the government by having this interaction.
All right, well, let's continue our discussion in a moment. We're going to take a look at something that's very central to China's political and social discourse at the moment, and that's Chinese modernization. So what is China, how does China define this? It is social modernization pursued under the leadership of the Communist Party of China. It contains elements that are common to the modernization processes of all countries, but it is more characterized by features that are unique to the Chinese context. So it is the modernization of a huge population, as China is working to achieve modernization for more than 1.4 billion people. And achieving common prosperity is a defining feature of socialism with Chinese characteristics. For socialist modernization, material abundance and cultural ethical enrichment are fundamental goals. China is committed to sustainable development and dedicated to peace, development, cooperation and mutual benefits whilst pursuing modernization. And China adopts its two-step strategic plan to build a great modern socialist country in all respects. The first is from 2020 through 2035, and then from 2035 through the middle of this century. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit more with our guests. So at the party congress in October, the October just gone, Xi Jinping stressed this Chinese path towards modernization, something that's been talked about a lot. But Victor, first of all, why is this such a key thing for China? I mean, a lot of countries have just kind of gone through this process, but China is very much making this a very central campaign.
Well, first of all, if we look at the composition of the CPPCC National Committee for more than 2,000 members, the CPC members only account for about 40%. So who are the remaining 60% of the members? People in the West tend to disbelieve the fact that China actually, in addition to CPC, which is the ruling party in China, China also has 8 other democratic parties. Each of these democratic parties was actually founded before 1949. So they have been here for decades. And they complement the CPPCC, they complement the CPC, and they actually play a very important role in China's administration, governance of all kinds. Therefore, each of the 8 democratic parties have their members to the CPPCC. And then you have a very large all-China Chamber of Commerce composed of private business owners. And then there is even a larger group of people, which we call people without party affiliations. So in a sense, for the 60% of the CPPCC members, they are not communists to start with. They're from other democratic parties, they're from Chamber of Commerce, they own their businesses, they are outstanding members in their lines of businesses. They are not only very high-ranking officials, for example, VIPs, they sometimes include ordinary people. outstanding in their own capacity. So they bring different perspectives, different ways of looking at what China need to do together, so that eventually the decisions that the government eventually adopt will be more rounded up. It will really reflect the voices and the fundamental interests of the people of all walks of life in China. And this is actually the cornerstone of why China's major policies have been tested again and again, and eventually it yields great results.
I assume you're talking about the whole processed people's democracy that China has always been touting. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit more later. And right now we're looking at some pictures from the press conference that will be starting shortly. It's being held by the National Committee of the CPPCC. That'll be going on in the Great Hall of the People very soon. So the CPPCC, this is now the 14th.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. This is the press conference of the first session of the 14th CPPCC National Committee. On behalf of the Secretariat, I wish to extend a warm welcome to all the journalists present here. Our speaker today is Mr. Guo Weimin, Deputy Secretary General and spokesperson of the first session of the 14th CPPCC National Committee and member of the 13th CPPCC National Committee. I'm Zhang Xiaoming, Deputy Secretary General of the National Committee. On the left side of the table is Mr. Zhou Beichuan, Director General of the Information Department of the National Committee. The two of us will be moderating the press conference today. Our event today will last about 1 hour. Now, I have the honor to invite Mr. Guo to give us a brief idea of the agenda of the session. Then he will take up your questions. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends from the press, good afternoon. Welcome to this press conference. It's a real pleasure to gather with you face to face today. I'd also like to welcome those who are following us on TV and on the internet and by radio. As mandated by the Secretariat, I'll first brief you on the agenda of this session. The first session of the 14th CPPCC National Committee will open at 3 p.m. tomorrow in the Great Hall of the People and conclude on the afternoon of March the 11th, lasting 7.5 days. The agenda items include to hear and deliberate the work report of the Standing Committee of the CPPCC National Committee and a report on proposals, to sit in on the first session of the 14th National People's Congress to hear and deliberate the government work report and other relevant reports, to review and approve an amendment to the CPPCC Charter, the political resolution of the first session of the 14th CPPCC National Committee and other resolutions and reports, and to elect the chairperson, vice chairpersons, secretary general, and members of the Standing Committee of the 14th CPPCC National Committee. During the session, there will be opening and closing meetings, 2 conference addresses, and 8 group discussions. The opening and closing meetings will be open to foreign envoys based in China. Now, preparations for the session have been completed. According to the plan, in addition to this press conference today, there will be another press briefing and 3 CPPCC members' passage interview events. Chinese and foreign journalists are most welcome to cover the session through interviews on-site, online, by video, or by phone. At the hotels where our members stay, we continue to have online video interview rooms. Our press service team and press officers based in the hotels will be happy to help you. On the website of our press center, you will find the agenda, main documents, and other useful information. Please remember to follow us. Now, I'll be happy to answer your questions about this session and the CPPCC's work. Thank you.
下面开始记者提问，请提问的记者先通报所在的新闻机构的名称。每名记者呢，限提1个问题。现在请有意提问的记者举手。请中区第1排第3位记者提问。
谢谢主持人，我是中央广播电视总台央视记者。我想请问发言人啊，5年来13届全国政协围绕国之大者，民之关切，积极建言资政，做了很多的工作。那么在您看来，过去5年全国政协的工作有哪些特点？谢谢。
China Media Group. Over the past 5 years, the 13th CPPCC National Committee has worked actively to provide input on issues of great importance to the country and of concern to the people. Mr. Spokesperson, how has the National Committee been doing its work in the past 5 years? Thank you.
总台央视的记者啊，这个问题十分重要。
This is indeed a very important question and a big one. Let me answer you in brief. Since the first session of the 13th CPPCC National Committee, following the guidance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, the National Committee has been taking solid steps to innovate the practices, theories, and institutions of the CPPCC, bringing about a new look in our cause in the new era. In the past 5 years, we have upheld the true nature and the correct position of the CPPCC and kept to the right direction in our cause. With a keen grasp of General Secretary Xi Jinping's important thoughts on strengthening and improving the CPPCC's work, and the decisions of the Central Conference on CPPCC, we stayed true to our political nature as a united front organization, serving as a key mechanism for multi-party cooperation and political consultation under the CPC's leadership. We strengthened the CPC's party building, better armed ourselves with the CPC's new theories, and leveraged the role of political guidance of CPPCC members who are from the CPC. We started a regular workshop on Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, and organized learning sessions for our members on the history of the CPC, the PRC reform and opening up, and socialism, particularly the history of the CPC, to cement the common theoretical and political foundation of our members. We had our first discussion on CPC party building in the CPPCC. We focused on building our institutions to be a better political consultative body and did a lot of experimental foundational work in enriching the formats, fleshing out the mechanisms, enhancing the impact, and fostering a culture of consultation. The CPPCC, as a special political consultative body, is better playing its important role in the national governance system. In the past 5 years, we focused on our central task and topics of overarching importance to the country and of concern to the people in our consultation and deliberation. Like you mentioned in your question, We conducted consultation and supervision and advised on such major topics as high-quality development and the formulation and implementation of the 14th Five-Year Plan, holding more than 100 topic-specific deliberation meetings of the Standing Committee, special consultative meeting, and bi-weekly consultation forums. These are the main formats of how we do consultation. The topics include major economic and social ones, such as high-quality development of the non-public sector and national food security, and practical ones of immediate public concern, such as education and population aging, and immediate and urgent ones, such as integrating poverty reduction with rural revitalization and improving pandemic response mechanisms. In the 5 years, we received more than 29,000 proposals and released over 9,000 bulletins on public opinions. This is an important part of our work of providing to the central authorities important information. Many of our members' opinions and suggestions became policy options for the CPC and the government. With a special focus on results of consultation, we further developed the mechanisms to ensure that we see the impact of our consultation. In the 5 years, we expanded consensus by pulling greater wisdom and strength from the Chinese people at home and overseas. Our central mission in the new era in improving the CPPCC's work is to strengthen theoretical and political guidance and build extensive consensus. We intensified our efforts on both state affairs deliberation and consensus building. We became more interactive. We developed a stronger culture of consultation and made consensus building an integral part of all we do. In celebrating the 70th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China and the centenary of the CPC, we strengthened theoretical and political guidance. Through members' reading activities and special inspection tours by non-CPC members, we forged consensus. With members' lectures, awareness-raising tours for major and special tasks, and media briefing by special committees, we disseminated consensus. These are the platforms and activities that our members have been engaged in. As a united front organization, we improved mechanisms for other political parties to express opinions and engage in exchanges. In the CPPCC, we have received more than 1,600 proposals from these political parties and over 500 conference interventions. This is the special role of our platform. We conducted study tours and special consultation forums by members from ethnic minorities and religious groups. We built closer connections with non-CPC intellectuals, business people in the non-public sector, and people of new social groups. And we enhanced our unity and bonds with our compatriots in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. By doing so, we have formed a strong energy for realizing the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. In the 5 years, we gave full play to our members' leading position and strengthened their sense of responsibility to fully tap into their role. We respect their leading position, safeguard their democratic rights, and made a special effort to enhance their capacity building. Our members' workshops, lectures by standing committee, and topic-specific study sessions helped members better do their job. Special committees worked as a bridge to link up with and serve members. We introduced members' voluntary investigations, carried out performance evaluations and improved mechanisms to keep job delivery files, performance information collection, and for standing committee members to submit work reports. With these mechanisms in place, our members can better play their role and do their job, so that we can help them to do their annual homework in a better way. This is also a request from the media for our members to make solid efforts and to fulfill their responsibilities. We set up an Excellence Award and recognized 60 members in 3 batches with online work platforms and reading groups. Members now enjoy better communication. All this has seen our members deliver outstanding work in a fresh way in a new era. Thank you.
请大家继续提问，请举手示意。请中区第3排那位外国记者提问。
Good afternoon, Market News International. China's economy has been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic over the last 3 years. Now that COVID control measures have been relaxed, will there be a strong recovery in the economy? What will be the main drivers and the main challenges? And what does the CPPCC think about the recovery? Thank you very much. Thank you.
美国国际市场新闻社：中国经济在过去3年受到新冠疫情影响，防控措施放开后，中国经济是否会迎来强劲复苏？复苏的主要驱动力和挑战分别有哪些？全国政协对此怎么看？谢谢。
美国国际市场新闻社的记者问了关于一个宏观中国经济形势的问题。
This is a question about the macro economy.
这个确实啊，也是国内外高度关注的。
Indeed, there is a lot of interest on this topic.
围绕保持宏观经济
Maintaining smooth macroeconomic operation is also an important topic in our consultation and deliberations. In the past 5 years, our members provided opinions and suggestions on the economy through proposals and topic-specific consultation meetings. In particular, every quarter, we would have a meeting on the macroeconomy to provide input on how to precisely implement the macroeconomic policies. This has become a key platform for advising decision-making. There is a lot of media reports on this, and we have also briefed you on our work. In addition, from time to time, we would have leading officials from central government agencies to hear the opinions and suggestions of our members, to have small group face-to-face discussions so as to better support good decision-making. So we have been doing a lot of work on the economy. Our members agree that in 2022, China overcame the shocks of greater than expected factors such as a complex and challenging international landscape, COVID and natural disasters, and maintained overall economic stability. So there are a lot of factors bearing on our economy. Our economy withstood the pressures and scaled new heights. This did not come easily. Now China still faces a complex and challenging environment in pursuing development, with continued international and political and economic disturbances, ongoing spillover effects from the changes of the policies by some major economies, and a not yet solid foundation for recovery. But we should also note our strengths in the size of our market, our industrial system, our human resources. The Chinese economy remains resilient and full of potential and vigor. In 2023, we will firm up our confidence in managing the economy, make it a priority to stabilize growth, and realize quality improvement and appropriate size growth. Our members believe that it is important to take substantial reform steps to improve expectations and confidence. The key is to implement as soon as possible the tasks set out at the 20th CPC National Congress and the Central Economic Work Conference. The strategy for expanding domestic demand should be implemented to restore and expand consumption at a faster pace. There needs to be stronger policy guidance to advance the digital transition of traditional industries and small and medium-sized enterprises. The financial system should continue to be reformed to better guide financial institutions in providing services for small and micro-sized businesses and innovation. The property sector should be steered towards stable and healthy development and transition smoothly into a new development model. Members have also provided suggestions on some concrete topics such as building a unified national market and expanding household consumption. As we continue to adjust and optimize our pandemic response, people's daily life and work are fast returning to normal. It has been reported that during the Spring Festival this year, over 300 million domestic sightseeing trips were made, close to 90% of the Spring Festival of 2019. In some cities, they even surpassed the levels of 2019. We heard the sounds of joy as families and friends gathered, and we saw the hustle and bustle of a normal, busy life. Let us keep working in unison to embrace a spring beckoning with hope. Thank you.
现在继续提问，请西区第二排靠左边的那位男记者提问。
谢谢主持人。人民日报记者提问：今年是我国改革开放政策实行45周年，自贸试验区成立10周年。在世界经济复苏乏力、保护主义盛行的情况下，中国的对外开放是否受到影响？全国政协在推动对外开放中做了哪些工作？谢谢。
People's Daily. This year marks the 45th anniversary of reform and opening up, and the 10th anniversary of the establishment of pilot free trade zones in China. In the context of anemic economic recovery and rampant protectionism, is China's opening up facing headwinds? What has the National Committee done in promoting opening up? Thank you.
人民日报记者哈，这提到今年是改革开放40
Indeed, this year marks the 45th anniversary of reform and opening up. 45 years ago, this policy started. It has not only transformed China, but also boosted the world's prosperity and development. General Secretary Xi Jinping stressed on multiple occasions that no matter how the world will change, China's faith in and its commitment to reform and opening up will not waver, and that China's door of opening up will not close, but open even wider. In recent years, China has kept making progress in opening up. We have improved the environment for foreign investment. The national foreign investment negative list has been reduced to 31 items, and the number of national pilot free trade zones increased to 21. Various measures have been taken to facilitate the opening up of investment, trade, finance, and travel with greater opening up and transparency. This year also marks the 10th anniversary of
pilot free trade zones. In Hainan, a free trade port with Chinese characteristics and global influence is advancing steadily. It will become a model of China's opening up in the new era. We have expanded the globally oriented network of high-standard free trade areas, formally signed and promoted the entry into force of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership RCEP, and worked actively for joining the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership CPTPP and the Digital Economy Partnership Agreement DEPA. China has also promoted high-quality Belt and Road cooperation and hosted the China International Import Expo 5 years in a row. In 2022, China's imports and exports exceeded $6 trillion, and the utilized foreign investment totaled over $189 billion, both hitting record high. Looking forward, we'll continue to open wider and provide new opportunities and fresh impetus to global development. The CPPCC National Committee has actively contributed to opening up through various efforts, and we've put opening up as one of the priorities of our work through forms such as special consultative meetings of the Standing Committee, special democratic oversight, and thematic research. The CPPCC Foreign Affairs Committee identified the implementation progress of major opening up measures during the 14th five-year plan as the theme of its special democratic oversight. And the results of their work was highly appreciated. China cannot develop in isolation from the world, nor can the world develop by shutting out China. China is ready to work with the rest of the international community to build an open world economy, a community with a shared future for mankind, and together create a brighter future. The CPPCC National Committee will, as always, perform its duties, making proposals and building consensus on promoting high-standard opening up. Thank you.
请大家继续提问，请举手。请东区第4排靠外侧那个记者，女记者。
谢谢主持人。发言人你好，我是人民政协报、人民政协网的记者。近年来，全国政协经常运用网络视频手段开展协商议政，让田间地头的场景直达北京的会议室，引起舆论广泛关注。请问13届全国政协在履职形式上有哪些创新？谢谢。
CPPCC Daily. In the past few years, the National Committee has been holding consultation and deliberation sessions online more regularly. People can join in the meetings even from the places they work in. There is a lot of attention on this. Can you tell us more about the new ways the last National Committee has tried out in doing its job? Thank you.
这个人民政协报记者哈，你们围绕我们全国政协啊，包括地方政协的活动，做了不少生动的报道。我每天在看，而且也收集了不少报道。的确啊，这个13届全国政协认真贯彻落实啊，习近平总书记啊关于加强和改进人民政协工作的重要思想和中央政协工作会议的精神，
and the spirit of the central conference of the work of the CPPCC. It has fulfilled its role of a special consultative body, explored new methods, and improved the quality and performance of work.
作为政协工作的一个重要目标，一个任务。
In recent years, the CPPCC National Committee has made enormous progress in establishing an evaluation system on the quality of political consultation and deliberation establishing a long-term mechanism for democratic oversight and improving the quality of and responsiveness to proposals. The efforts produced good outcomes, and new measures were introduced in the following three areas. First, the use of information technologies has expanded the platform and raised effectiveness. The National Committee highly values the important role of the Internet and actively conducted online political consultation and deliberation during the pandemic. In 2022, we hosted over 210 virtual meetings and interactions, reaching directly to subnational CPPCC committees and rural areas with better efficiency. For example, if the discussion centers around agriculture and the development of rural areas, then we'll extend our reach to agricultural experts and farmers who are living in rural areas, because they have the first-hand experience of the topic. By doing this, we can improve the efficiency of political consultation and deliberation. We have also established online platforms for CPPCC members to execute their duties. In the past 5 years, over 144 online groups were set up, through which 99% of CPPCC members performed their duties and 92% of proposals were filed. We have two online platforms, one for CPPCC members to execute their duties, and the other is a reading group. So the CPPCC members could perform their duties simply through holding a mobile phone. Thus, executing duties virtually has become a new work pattern for CPPCC members. Second, consultation was further diversified in format and conducted in greater depth. We hosted special consultations for different social sectors and special consultative meetings together with subnational committees. We have increased exchange with government departments using special consultative meetings and bi-weekly consultative forums. Nearly 40 briefing sessions on issues of major concern were held. The expert consultation mechanism is another new exploration. Its participants include CPPCC members, experts, and scholars, all with profound knowledge in their respective fields. This mechanism focuses on major topics and conducts small group and continuous consultations based on thorough and in-depth research. In the past 5 years, we have hosted 70 expert consultations on topics such as developing key technologies in medicine and medical equipment and implementing the new childbirth policy, providing important reference for central decision-making. Third, the primary role of CPPCC members was fully leveraged to fulfill their responsibility. Through training and briefing session, the CPPCC members are timely updated and better prepared for carrying out their jobs. The rules of work for CPPCC members to perform their duties were revised and implemented, forming a set of mechanisms on content, method, and support for them to play their role. The members' initiatives were unleashed in special committees as well as conducting pilot independent researches. For example, I work in the Foreign Affairs Committee, so my research focus would be on foreign affairs. And in the last 2 years, we have launched the pilot program of encouraging CPPCC members to conduct pilot independent researches. They can choose their own topics, engage with local community, conduct in-depth research, and offer their own policy recommendations. Over the years, some members have researched and contributed to topics such as building the modern industrial system and developing stranglehold technologies, and came up with very insightful suggestions. I myself also conducted independent research on using smart technologies to improve the medical services in remote and rural areas. In that research, I partnered with a CPPCC member who is also a medical professional. We shared our views on a special consultative meeting and submitted a report to the National Health Commission. The report received wide attention and very good feedback. And independent research has become more and more important in our work. Thank you.
请西区第4排那位女记者提问。
谢谢发言人，我是来自香港凤凰卫视、凤凰网和凤凰秀的记者胡玲。今天也很高兴能够面对面的和发言人提问。因为您刚刚在回答经济问题的时候也特别谈到了信心2个字。我们都知道，其实受到多重因素的影响，内地很多的民营企业，尤其是中小企业，其实普遍都面临着经营困难，尤其是信心不足的这样的问题。那我知道，在政协委员当中有不少都是民营企业家。那么我就想知道，在推动民营经济发展方面，政协都做了哪些工作？那么，尤其今年，我很想知道你们还有哪些建言献策，能够切实的来保障国企和民企的公平竞争，同时把恢复民营企业家信心这句话能够真正的落到实处。谢谢。
Phoenix TV, I'm very glad to have this opportunity to ask this question face to face. You mentioned confidence in your remarks. Some private enterprises, especially small and medium-sized enterprises, face difficulties and lack confidence. Many CPPCC members are also private business leaders. My question is, what has the CPPCC done to promote development of the private sector? What recommendations will be made to better ensure fair competition between state-owned and private enterprises and restore confidence across the private sector? Thank you.
好，谢谢凤凰卫视记者提问。的确啊
Thank you for your
怎么
question.
样提振中小企业、民营企业，特别中小微企业的这样的一个信
Indeed,
心啊？
how to restore the confidence of the private sector, in particular
全国政协
that
在
of
协商议
small and
把
medium
经济
enterprises,
宏观经济运行是一个
is an
重要议
important
题
topic.
其实
It is
民营企业
high
中小
on the
微企业
agenda of the
跟它是相伴随
CPPCC.
的，也是高度重视的一个话题。
This topic
民营
is
经
also
济
of
啊
great interest to the
是
public.
推动创新、促进就
The
业、
private sector
改善
is
民
an
生的
important force
重要力
to
量。
boost innovation, employment,
在实现
and
中国式
people's
现代
living
化进程
standards.
中啊，发挥着
It has
不可
played
或缺的作
an
用。
irreplaceable role
主要是做大家有很形
in
象的一些
advancing the Chinese path to
的
modernization.
确啊，近年来呢，在疫
In
情的
recent
反复冲
years,
击下，
Due to
一些
the
民营企业，
pandemic,
特别是
some
中小微
private
企业
businesses, in particular
经营压力
micro,
加大。
small, and medium
部分民营企业
enterprises,
家
have experienced
处境
mounting pressure, and some private business
去
owners
年底
are
召
in a
开的
difficult
中央经济
situation.
工作会议指出，
That
要
said,
切实
it
落
was
实
pointed out
两
at
个
last
毫不
year's
动摇
Central Economic Work
毫不动摇
Conference
巩固
that
和
China
发
will
展
continue
公
to
有制
work
经济，毫不
unswervingly
动摇鼓
both
励
to
支持
consolidate
引
and
导
develop the
非
public
公有制
sector
经济的发展。
and to encourage,
会议
support,
指出
and
啊，
guide
从制度和
development
法
of
律
the
上
non-public
把
sector.
对国企
It was
民
also
企平等对
stressed
待的要求
that
落下
the
来。
requirement for equal treatment of state-owned and private enterprises should be put into practice in terms of systems and laws, and the development and growth of the private economy and enterprises should be encouraged and supported in terms of policies and public opinion. The statements spoke volume for the clear attitude of the CPC and the government in supporting the private sector. It has greatly inspired the CPPCC members, in particular those private business owners, and significantly boosted their confidence. The National Committee attaches great importance to protecting and promoting the development of the private sector. Through special consultation, online deliberation, and submitting proposals, we have been working on this subject for a long time. Since 2021, a 5-year-long democratic oversight conducted by the Economic Committee has been launched to improve the business environment. And last year, the Economic Committee released a special report on 100 questions raised by 100 businesses. In 2022, with the view to establishing a long-term mechanism for preventing and resolving the outstanding payments owed to small and medium enterprises, the CPPCC National Economic Committee headed to different localities, talked with relevant departments, conducted independent research and joint research with local CPPCC committees, and surveyed the participating companies. After having a keen grasp of the situation, the committee identified the problem and offered a solution. In carrying out democratic oversight, the members participating in the democratic oversight said that despite difficulties, some private owners stayed committed to overcoming the challenge and helped ensure the stability of the operation of the company and employment. Our CPPCC members facilitated the communication between local governments and small and medium enterprises, cleared some outstanding payments, and proposed recommendations for solving immediate problems and establishing a long-term mechanism. To promote the development of the private sector, some members made the proposal of further improving the property rights protection system, in which the property rights of the public sector are inviolable, as are the property rights of the non-public sector. Some members proposed to bring the strength of private enterprises, such as flexibility, innovation, and efficient decision-making into full play, and further relax market access for private companies in some key areas and industries. Some also suggested to establish a system that leaves private companies undisturbed, explore new financial models to serve the private sector, and encourage financial institutions to provide stronger support for micro and small businesses, so as to help SMEs tide over difficulties. There were also proposals of establishing a national honor system for outstanding entrepreneurs, including those in the private sector. These important proposals were valued and adopted by the government. Some CPPCC members said that as the economy this year is expected to bounce back, the private sector will have new opportunities and a broader stage for development. Thank you.
请大家继续提问，请举手示意。请东区第3排那位女记者提问。
谢谢主持人。新加坡联合早报记者提问：这几年不少中国年轻人成为两栖青年、斜杠青年。有观点认为，这些新就业方式的兴起，除了是因为新经济形态的出现，更是因为年轻人面对的就业环境越来越严峻。请问您怎么看？今年中国高校毕业生将达到1100万，您如何评估中国今年的就业形势？政协在改善中国年轻人就业环境上有哪些建议？谢谢。
联合早报 of Singapore. In recent years, many Chinese youngsters have become /youth, a term referring to those who simultaneously pursue multiple careers. Some people think that the rise of new employment forms is on one hand due to emergence of new business models, and on the other, caused by a more challenging environment for job seekers. What is your view? It is also estimated that 11 million college graduates will enter the job market this year. How do you see China's employment going forward? What advice will the National Committee give to promote youth employment? Thank you.
这个联合早报记者问到斜杠青年两栖青年，主要指的是从事一些新就业形态，是吧？他可能从事年轻人从事多种工作。
They are on different careers at the same time, for example, via the internet or becoming car hailing drivers at the same time, engaging in consultative operation or educational operation. And you ask about the employment situation of youth and how does the CPPCC view this issue. The CPPCC National Committee pays great attention to jobs and has done a great deal in stabilizing and promoting jobs. Our members made many relevant proposals. For example, during this year's 2 sessions, our members will propose more suggestions. Last year, the Committee on Economic Affairs carried out a special research on supporting jobs of SMEs and self-employed households. The Committee on Education, Science, Health and Sports conducted a special research on college graduates' employment. The reports and suggestions during these sessions will be an important part of their proposals. Last August, the National Committee held a topic-specific Standing Committee deliberation on adhering to the Employment First policy. Topic-specific deliberation is an important method for deliberation and consultations in the CPPCC. Chairman Wang Yang attended the meeting. 11 members of the Standing Committee provided insights from different perspectives on how to promote jobs. Officials from 15 ministries and commissions, including the NDRC, the Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security, attended the meeting. The members who are attending the meeting and interacted with officials. Many proposals were adopted and helped stabilize jobs. Those members played an important role in the whole process. You talked about this year's employment. CPPCC members noted that the pressure on aggregate job creation this year is quite large. College graduates will exceed 11.5 million. Meanwhile, there's a gap between skills workers have and skills needed for jobs. Structural issues are more pronounced. Ensuring stable employment still faces many challenges. However, we also have favorable conditions this year. As we optimize COVID-19 response policies and further implement measures to stabilize the economy, China's economy will continue to recover, thus providing a solid underpinning for a stable employment. Everything will go back to normal. As a series of measures by localities and departments are implemented, a stable employment will be strongly supported. The SCIO held a press conference recently. Officials from relevant departments briefed us on employment and their relevant work. Employment is an important part of competent departments. On how to promote jobs, members proposed many good ideas. Some suggested stable Jobs and more jobs hinges on the development of companies. We need to protect and encourage the development of companies. Some noted that it is important to develop emerging industries and scale up assistance for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in fiscal policy, taxation, and social security, so as to maintain and create more jobs. Some said that it is imperative to protect rights and interests of express and food delivery and car-hailing workers, and actively promote and guide new means of employment. For example, the slash use that you mentioned, those who are seeking new means of employment, including online education, etc., will be encouraged and guided in order to have a better life. Some suggest that new methods and effective measures are needed to help college graduates to land jobs. We've done a great deal in this area in recent years to help college graduates land jobs, including local governments and relevant departments. Some propose to raise public awareness of skills, enable everyone to unleash full potential, and better serve national development and social demand with the growth and flow of talent. This is also the key of our work. Members also suggested to protect jobs of key groups, such as those lifted out of poverty and rural migrant workers. Jobs are important for every household. Therefore, it is a systemic project that needs concerted effort of government, companies, institutions, and the whole society. The National Committee of the CPPCC will continue to prioritize jobs in consultations and deliberations, actively make proposals, and pull consensus to stabilize and promote jobs. Thank you.
请继续举手提问。请中区第3排有请第2位记者。
谢谢主持人。发言人您好，我是香港大公文汇传媒集团的记者。去年年底以来，我国不断的优化调整疫情防控措施，成功实现了疫情防控的平稳转段。请问发言人对此怎么看？另外，围绕疫情防控，政协都做了哪些工作？谢谢。
大公文汇 of Hong Kong. Since late last year, China has been optimizing its COVID response protocols, which has smoothly and steadily transitioned into a new stage. Mr. Spokesperson, what is your take on this? What has the National Committee done in this regard? Thank you.
好，谢谢大公文汇记者的提问哈。
Thank you for your question.
新冠疫情发生3年来啊。
In the past
在以习近平同志为核心的党中央的坚强领导下，
of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core,
生命至上，
China has put the people first and put life first,
优化调整
adapted our COVID response in light of the evolving situation,
高效统筹
effectively coordinated COVID response and economic and social
有
development,
效地保护了
and
人
protected
民群众
the life and
生命安
health
全和
of the people.
身体健康。经过全党全国各族人民
With
的
the joint
同心抗
efforts
疫，
of the CPC, the armed forces, and people of all ethnic groups,
疫情流行，
China has passed
社
this
会
round
生
of
产
infection.
生活加快
The
恢复
life
正
and
常。
work has returned to
疫
normal,
情防控啊，
and China's
取得
efforts
了
to
重
fight
大
COVID
决定
have
性的
scored a
胜利。
major decisive victory.
当前啊，要认真贯彻
At the current
执行
stage,
党中央
we are
关于新阶
earnestly
段
following
疫
through
情防
on
控
the
的
decisions and plans of
决策部
the CPC Central
落实好
Committee and
一类一管的
implementing the
各项措施。
readjusted measures of COVID response.
在疫情防控的斗争中啊，也
In our
涌现出
fight
了
against
许
the
多
pandemic,
感人的
emerged many touching stories.
在去年年底这波疫情
During the infection peak at the end of last year, medical professionals overcame complex challenges, exemplified professionalism and dedication, and treated patients through long hours at high intensity. Among those medical professionals, many are CPPCC members at all levels. Some of them served in the 13th CPPCC National Committee, and some are new members. Ordinary people in other professions also made important contributions to fighting COVID and ensuring economic and social development. The community workers bravely stuck to their posts through it all. Couriers delivering parcel and food, rushing in the streets to ensure smooth logistics of daily necessities. Shop assistants, sales associates in the supermarket and the convenience store continued their work to ensure unimpeded supplies. Facing the pandemic, the Chinese people stood in solidarity, forged ahead with confidence and mutual support, and together they demonstrated fully the fine qualities of the Chinese nation. So what role the CPPCC has played in this process? The members have given full play to their strength, treating patients on the front line, conducting scientific research to fight the virus, and doing whatever they can in their respective fields. They also actively contributed their wisdom. The National Committee conducted political consultation and deliberation through meetings, proposals, and information sharing. It convened bi-weekly consultative seminars themed on improving the prevention and control mechanism for major epidemics and on strengthening the safety net of public health. Many thematic seminars were hosted on COVID response. Many policy recommendations were adopted by central departments. Looking forward, the CPPCC National Committee will continue to give advice on coordinating COVID response and economic and social development under the new circumstances, improving medical and healthcare systems, preventing major public health incidents, and accelerating high-quality development. Some proposals are implemented in progress, and some other proposals are included in this year's plan. Thank you.
请中间这个第二排这位戴眼镜这位男记者提问。
谢谢主持人。新华社记者提问。那么我们知道，数字经济呢是近年来的一个热词，也成为我们国家经济的一个新的重要增长。然后我们了解到啊，就是全国政协也是围绕数字经济组织了一系列的这个调研和考察。那么想请问在这方面我们有哪些的建议？谢谢。
新华 News Agency。Digital economy, a buzzword in recent years, has become a new, important driver for China's economy. We learned that the National Committee carried out a series of inspections and studies on this. What recommendations have been made? Thank you.
新华社记者问了一个很重要的问题啊，数字经济啊，现在。
This is indeed an important question. The digital economy is becoming increasingly important for our national economy. And the public is developing more understanding about it and becoming to recognize the importance of the digital economy. It is now part of our society and everyday life. Terms like 5G, big data, cloud computing, AI, and blockchain are in everyday conversations. Recently, we have also seen some new technologies being put into use, drawing intense interest from the general public. The National Committee is indeed highly interested in this topic. We have made it an important topic in our consultation and deliberation. Tapping into our strengths in human resources and knowledge, we gave strong support to the growth of the digital economy. We have worked with our proposals, with our consultation seminars, and submitted reports to the Standing Committee. The media has also been following our work. In May last year, on the basis of in-depth research, we held a consultation meeting on promoting sustained and healthy development of the digital economy. Before and during the meeting, more than 170 members gave their opinions and suggestions online and offline on the important, difficult, and bottleneck issues facing the digital economy. Members noted that digital technologies are important for transforming and upgrading the traditional sector and promoting economic growth. It is a key engine for building a modern economic system. It's critical for our future development. In this sector, China still faces bottleneck issues on key components and core technologies such as industrial software. It's imperative to shore up the weak links and strengthen the foundation. There should also be a well-developed market for data flows so as to make a good and full use of data resources. The digital economy should be integrated with the manufacturing sector, which is being done across the country to transform and upgrade the traditional manufacturing industries. It's also important to proactively adapt to the features of the digital economy. Security risks need to be addressed, and risks of development being subdued should also be preempted. So we should strike a balance. Supervision should be part of the legal framework. We must bolster our security system to effectively protect our country's digital security. In our consultations and proposals, many of our members have shared their opinions on this question. In addition to sharing their ideas, our members from the science and technology sector and the business community are also taking real actions in digital economy R&D and application, using digital technology to promote high-quality development. Thank you.
继续提问。请西区第3排中间这位女记者提问。
谢谢主持人。发言人您好，我是光明日报记者。近年来，全国政协开展委员读书活动，推进书香政协建设。请问，读书活动开展情况如何？在增强委员履职能力方面发挥了什么作用？谢谢。
Guangming Daily. In the past few years, the National Committee has been running a book reading program to foster a reading culture in the CPPCC. How has the program been going? In what way has it helped members better carry out their work? Thank you.
这个光明日报记者提问的哈。
Thank you for your question.
我跟秘书长我们还在交流那个
I was talking with my Secretary General about the support we have been getting from our media friends, including Guangming Daily. Thank you for your support and the work you have done. This program is indeed an important part of our work in recent years. As to the progress, since its launch in early 2020, General Secretary Xi Jinping gave full recognition to the value of this program, and he also gave us clear instructions on how to carry out this program, following his important guidance. We've used mobile platforms, conducted online and offline sessions, and integrated book reading with job delivery. This program has shown great vigor and helped to improve the CPPCC's work. It has helped us to foster a reading CPPCC. Since its launch in April 2020, the National Committee has conducted 10 reading sessions, created a number of reading groups on the new development philosophy and economic growth, the twin carbon targets, and building a community with a shared future for mankind, altogether 147. We also have a reading group on digital economy. This program is involving more and more members. Now, 98% of our entire membership and covering all the 34 sectors. So it is widely popular with our members. Chairperson Wang Yang and the vice chairpersons often join our members in their reading sessions. Sometimes they just walk in and become part of the discussion. In 2022, while further improving our mobile platform, we also built a brick-and-mortar academy. So the functions of the APP have been enhanced, and we also have a physical site for reading activities. These activities helped our members better fulfill their mandate. For example, we set up groups on rural revitalization and common prosperity. Experts were invited to share their insight, and members had in-depth exchanges and shared their views. Our count shows that the opinions shared by our members in these groups later fed into over 200 proposals, CPPCC bulletins, and special reports providing important information for the decision-making of the relevant departments. We have colleagues taking note of their opinions and put them into reports and share them with the relevant government agencies. We respect the leading position of our members in these activities. Based on their needs in doing their job and their field of interest, we set up various kinds of reading groups and invited members from different sectors to act as group leaders and tutors. Some will soon be very well known among the members because they are the tutors. In these exchanges, members are encouraged to share different views to foster a culture of consultation. The program has increasingly become a new channel for our members to discharge their duty and to have cross-sectoral exchanges with one another. They can do their job while reading books in this group, and they can also share ideas in these groups all day long. It has also produced good spillover effects. For example, the reading group on the Civil Code, which has experts interpreting typical cases, has drawn a large group of followers on social media and received more than 100 million views. We put together some thoughtful works by our members on the book they read and published a 12-volume book. We also carried out other activities which enhanced the influence of this program. These activities encouraged reading by the general public and contributed to the building of a reading society. Together with Guangming Daily and the National Library, we carried out a number of events. Our media friends were also there. It has a great social impact. The National Committee has also encouraged reading by the local committees. Now the National Committee is in partnership with the 21 provincial committees to carry out joint reading activities, and 31 provincial committees have their own reading mechanisms and have carried out various kinds of reading activities. Thank you.
好，请大家继续提问，请举手示意。请中区第2排，靠过道那位戴眼镜的记者提问。
谢谢主持人。日本共同社的叶志亮提问。今年是习近平主席倡导“一带一路”10周年。面向下一个10年，中方怎样发展“一带一路”，并防范增加债务的风险？谢谢。
Kyoto News. This year marks the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative proposed by President Xi Jinping. In the coming decade, how will China advance Belt and Road cooperation and prevent debt risks in the process? Thank you.
这个今年是“一带一路”10周年哈。
This year marks the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative. In 2013, President Xi Jinping proposed the BRI. Now, 10 years have passed. The BRI has advanced steadily and achieved fruitful outcomes, which could be seen from the following aspects. First, the BRI has enjoyed growing international support. By mid-February, China had signed over 200 cooperation documents with 151 countries and 32 international organizations. Second, practical cooperation has deepened. The China Laws Railway is officially up and running. The Piria's port is in good operation. And at the same time, a group of small yet smart programs on agriculture, health, and poverty reduction have been carried out. In the past 10 years, China's annual trade with countries along the Belt and Road Initiative has increased from $1.04 trillion to $2.07 trillion. Third, cultural exchanges have been strengthened. Luban Workshop and other brands of cultural and education exchange, the Silk Road International League of Theaters, the Silk Road International Alliance of Museums, and the Silk Road International Arts Festival are operating soundly. Also, there have been very frequent and active cooperation among think tanks and media groups. The BRI is not only about infrastructure, it also covers people-to-people exchanges. You shared with us your concern about the prevention of debt risk. Actually, China attaches great importance to the prevention of debt risk, and in pursuing Belt and Road cooperation, China has all along followed international practices and the principle of debt sustainability. China promotes a long-term, stable, sustainable, and risk-resilient investment and financing framework. Upholding economic and social benefits, China stays committed to providing loans in light of the conditions of the recipient country and committed to not causing new debt risk or financial burden. Following the principle of equal participation and shared benefits and risks, China, together with other 29 countries, have ratified the guiding principles on financing the development of the Belt and Road, highlighting the importance of debt sustainability for participating governments, financial institutions, and companies. This is a topical document specifically on debt sustainability. On top of that, China also published the Debt Sustainability Framework for participating countries of the Belt and Road Initiative. This is a technical document to help participating countries improve their debt management. The BRI mainly focuses on infrastructure and production. It has brought effective investment and quality assets to participating countries and boosted the country's economy and living standards.
我们也注意到，现在国际上也会有一些声音
There are some people out there claiming that it is China that makes the debt trap in an attempt to smear the BRI and China's image. Such claim is nothing but fabrication. It is baseless and ill-intentioned. Noises as such will not interfere or impede the development of the BRI. We'll continue to furthering the development of BRI and take the BRI's 10th anniversary as a good opportunity to further strengthen infrastructure connectivity, enhance the quality and efficiency of trade and investment, deepen cultural exchange, explore new opportunities in green development, public health, security, and digital areas. We'll continue to improve risk prevention and control systems so as to achieve greater progress of the BRI and provide new energy and space for global economic cooperation. In recent years, focusing on the Belt and Road innovation, cooperation, green development, and people-to-people exchanges, the CPPCC National Committee has conducted many topical researches and bi-weekly consultative seminars to solicit opinions and build consensus. In the next step, we'll continue to do our part and help the BRI go further in a steady manner. Thank you.
请中区第2排靠过道的这位女记者提问。
谢谢主持人。中评社记者提问：我们看到，随着大陆的防疫措施的这个优化调整啊，两岸民众都非常期盼两岸交流能够春暖花开。那今年以来呢，两岸也开展了一系列的这个交流活动啊。那请问发言人，您对此有何看法？那全国政协在促进两岸交流方面发挥了哪些作用？谢谢。
China Review News. As the mainland adjusts its COVID response measures, people on both sides of the strait look forward to embracing a warm spring in cross-strait exchanges. Since the start of this year, a series of events have been held for that purpose. Mr. Spokesperson, how do you see these developments? What role has the National Committee played in facilitating such exchanges? Thank you.
香港中评社哈。 你们好像比较多的是在关注和报道两岸，说两岸事务、两岸
I can see that you have been following with great interest the cross-strait relations and exchanges.
各领域的交流合作开展。
Exchanges and cooperation across the strait has been going on for over 30 years. There is a strong foundation and motivation. It is also the prevailing trend. The National Committee believes that the Chinese people on both sides of the Taiwan Strait belong to one family and is dedicated to facilitating the exchanges and cooperation across the strait. In the past 5 years, the National Committee organized inspection tours, special topic study tours for relevant members, so that they can carry out research and provide their suggestions and help promote the implementation of policy measures designed to promote economic and cultural exchange and cooperation across the Taiwan Strait. We took an active part in holding the Straits Forum, built new platform for non-governmental exchange, and developed mechanisms for communication with the leading public voices and heads of community-level units in Taiwan. We invited representatives from Taiwan to take part in major events such as the 110th anniversary of the 1911 Revolution and held cultural events such as Heluo Culture Symposium to enhance the cultural bond and connection between compatriots on both sides of the strait. On the new journey, we will continue to fully implement the instructions set out at the 20th CPC National Congress, uphold the basic principles of peaceful reunification and one country, two systems, and the 1992 consensus, stand firmly opposed to the separatist activities by Taiwan independence forces and foreign interference. The desire for peace, development, exchange, and cooperation is shared by compatriots on both sides. As the mainland enters a new stage in pandemic response, the National Committee will continue to promote exchange and interactions with people from all walks of life in Taiwan and work together with them to promote peaceful and integrated development in cross-strait relations. We will work with the compatriots in Taiwan to promote national reunification and usher in a better future of the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Thank you.
好，由于时间关系啊，我们下面最后一个问题，请举手示意。请后排一点的记者提问吧。好，后面那个戴眼镜那个男记者提问。
谢谢主持人。南方都市报 N 视频记者提问。14届全国政协委员呢即将履职，请问新一届全国政协委员的构成有什么特点？您作为老的政协委员有什么感受？对新一届政协委员的履职您有什么期待？谢谢。
Southern Metropolis Daily. Members of the 14th CPPCC National Committee are getting ready for their term. Can you briefly describe the composition of the new National Committee? Mr. Spokesperson, you also served on the last committee. What is your reflection? What expectations do you have for the new members in performing their duty? Thank you.
南都报记者是问了一个是14届政协委员的构成特点，是吧？组成。
You asked about the composition of the new CPPCC committee and my personal reflection expectation. I'll start with the first question. The 14th CPPCC National Committee has 2,169 members coming from 34 sectors. Among them, 60.8% are non-CPC members and all 56 ethnic groups are represented. As the National Committee represents the broadest patriotic united front organization and a major channel for consultative democracy, the composition of the new committee has the following features. First, wide representation. The members come from all walks of life and cover a wide range of area. Second, improved structure. Those who have made outstanding contributions to major tasks such as implementing major national development strategies, tackling poverty and pollution, fighting COVID, and tiding over disasters, were recommended as CPPCC member. Religious figures, ethnic minorities, and people working in non-public sectors or new social stratum were also taken into account. Third, a proper mix of new and re-elected members. While a certain amount of CPPCC members have served in the previous National Committee, a group of new members across sectors will join us. Fourth, high quality. The members of the new National Committee are politically sound and professional, actively participate in the deliberation and administration of state affairs, and enjoy a close bond with the people and a good social image. As for my personal reflection, I do feel that the past 5 years have passed in the twinkling of an eye. The experience at the CPPCC made an indelible impression on me. In the past 5 years, the CPPCC members have earnestly studied and implemented the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics, focused on central tasks, served the big picture interests, participated in political consultation and deliberation, filed proposals, conducted research, and actively provided policy recommendations. In this process, we gained a deeper understanding of the significance of the CPPCC in promoting socialist democracy and pursuing progress in the cause of the country. We have also developed a closer tie to this organization. There's a saying in the CPPCC that be a member one time, be committed the whole life. I have talked to many members. We all agree that being a CPPCC member is an honor, but more importantly, a responsibility. It requires expertise, but more importantly, must have a lofty cause, a lofty sense of keeping the country in mind. Some members say that a qualified CPPCC member must have a sense of mission of not claiming credit, but always making sure to contribute to the success of the cause. For any CPPCC member, when they identify specific problems and submit a proposal, they will do this continuously and together with other members, and sometimes with relevant departments. If such efforts continue for a long time, the success will be within sight. This might be my personal reflection of the work this 13th CPPCC National Committee did. As a re-elected member, I will carry forward the good traditions and work ethics of qualified CPPCC members. Our work is like a relay race. Each term is responsible for passing the baton on to the next, and soon the baton will be handed to the new term and will surely cherish the honor, execute our duties, make the CPPCC more successful, and contribute wisdom and strength to building China into a modern socialist country in all respects. Thank you.
我统计了一下，刚才郭维明先生呢，一共回答了12个问题。
Mr. Guo Weiming answered 12 questions today. Thank you very
感
much.
谢翻译李继伟先生，
Also
感谢
thank
在
the
场
work
的
of the
记者朋
interpreter
友们的采访。
and the work
今天的
of
新
our
闻发
friends
布
from the
会
press.
到此结束。
Thank you very much.
记者朋
That
友们再见。
concludes today's press conference. Thank you.
And that's the spokesman for the National Committee of the CPPCC. Now, our guests in the studio have been here with us for an hour and a half listening to this. So before we talk about any of the content that was mentioned there, I know, you were observing that this is a very different kind of press conference from anything, other media outside of China might be used to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to really play well with the audience who are used to this kind of back and forth that you get in the West. But, it goes to the very heart of what, the media is and how the government sees itself. I mean, they see their legitimacy based on performance. So they're trying to explain. So what you had here were 12 answers in search of questions. And the reason is he wanted to cover everything that they're doing. I mean, you notice he's extremely friendly, very easygoing tone. We want to express that they're diligent, they're doing their work. He talked about a lot of examples, very small examples, you know, whether it's a book club or whatever. And this is the main point. He wants to convey, you know, that this is a competent organization that is doing its job.
And absolutely. I mean, you talked about topics that people actually do care about, right? COVID, how that was handled, or how businesses are supported.
Cross-strait
exactly, cross-strait, all the big issues that Chinese people often focus on. So talking about performance, Victor, what would you say some of the notable achievements and actually more noticeable achievements have been for the 13th committee?
Well, I would say Mr. Guo actually touched upon many important things that CPPCC did over the past 5 years. You mentioned a couple of them, for example, and employment and how to deal with new technologies, for example, 5G, etc. And I think this reflected the whole range of things that CPPCC in its normal course of work would actually get involved in, mainly because for more than 2,000 members, they come from different walks of life. They bring their own unique expertise and knowledge base, and they care and they are curious about many things about China. So they can also serve as tunnels and channels of communication from their constituency, and they can talk to anyone in China, and they can reflect their views and concerns and anxieties, for example, and their queries through the CPPCC system up to the ruling party, up to the central government. And in that case, we see in a better way what CPPCC is all about. Mr. Guo brought in more clarity and transparency to this whole CPPCC framework, which is really very difficult for people in the West to understand because they simply don't have anything similar to a CPPCC framework. In that sense, I think he did a good job, and I think it bodes well for this CPP session which will start tomorrow. And we look forward to the coming 10 days of extremely important deliberations and discussions and adopting of resolutions by the coming CPPCC session.
Well, as you said, it constitutes people from all walks of life. But Victor, would you say that the CPPCC does a good job of reaching out to outliers and giving voice to them?
Yes, it depends on how each member of the CPPCC would handle his or her job. If the member is very proactive, for example, he can really reach out to as many people as possible, and he can be a sounding board or reflection point, gathering information, gathering concerns, and reflecting them through the CPPCC framework. Eventually, how good CPPCC will do its job depends on the quality of the recommendations and the advices. And there is a process for the recommendations to be funneled up, to be analyzed, to be processed, and eventually to be incorporated into the real specific decisions. So it's a long process. If you can be more active, for example, you can contribute more. If you are more laid back, if you are very passive, for example, then you do not do your job in a more meaningful way. It's a dynamic process.
I know you look like you have something to add.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Victor says. I've known a lot of people who have been on the CPPCC, and they take it very seriously. You know, you'll notice that they have 500 new members out of 2,000. That gives you an idea of the kind of turnover. It's considered a great honor, but all these people, they're not professional bureaucrats who are sitting there trying to judge everything. These are people who are involved in their work, like the surgeon, the neurosurgeon. He's there because, and he's trying to bring his expertise and his point of view of not only himself, but his colleagues in his industry into this. And that's what you saw here. And what was notable this year is that you have a more youthful group at the helm. And I think that's going to be a big part of the change here, is that you are seeing a kind of generational change in the leadership. And this signals they have a lot more education, experience, and they're going to be responsible for a very tricky part of the transition of China.
All right. Well, thank you both so much. Really appreciate having you here with us. Victor Gao, Chair Professor of Soochow University, and Einar Tangen, Independent Common Affairs commentator. Really appreciate it. Well, this year's session of the CPPCC will open in Beijing on Saturday, and it marks the beginning of the most important annual event on China's political calendar, and that is the two sessions. We'll of course bring you everything you need to know about it and the news and views on the agenda, so do tune into CGTN. Well, thanks so much for watching our special coverage. I'm Jiao Yang in Beijing. From the team, bye for now.